Hello everyone, I'm Puraiden from the future. I just wanted to tell you guys, I just finished editing this video and I did the best I could. It's completely messed up. The audio and video don't align at all, and I tried my best, but towards the end of this video it gets really bad. So anyway, I did record a complete playthrough of this game, but I'm only going to upload the first episode. There were 3. It was about an hour and a half long by the end of it. It was a really good, really interesting game, and I would really encourage you to check the game out for yourself. Apparently it does not record well. It's the game. It's not my setup. Or maybe it's my setup mixed with the game, but it's not working out. So I don't know. Sorry about that. Anyway, please enjoy the first episode and last of the Beginner's Guide. Hello anybody and everybody watching right now, my name is Puraiden and welcome to the Beginner's Guide. I know nothing about this game except for that it is created by the same person or people who created the Stanley Parable. Make sure audio is on. Alright, WASD and click. Alright. Now I thought the Stanley Parable was an awesome game, so I don't know if this...
Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff. And his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, you know, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Is this real? Like, is all this... If so, that's pretty cool. If not, then it's just a really meta game, which I wouldn't be surprised, because that's exactly... Ooh! Actually caught me off guard. That's exactly what the Stanley Parable was.
This game is called Escape from Whisper.
I love that
and it's
game.
one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Why? What's whisper? Whisper machine status active. I'm out of ammo. Oh. Didn't notice this area. All out of ammo. I don't think that's good.
Security call breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
It's just me. I don't even have any ammo. I'm
It
not.
kind of looks like
nothing to
this
worry
game
about.
was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere.
Very
But then
true.
clearly there are no enemies anywhere.
So
You
far.
can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin shooting activation.
What's this?
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
Me too. Looks pretty nice outside there. We're in space. So many
Apparently the
ways to
space
go.
station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
I'm definitely feeling the
Okay, this is the part
Stanley
that's interesting.
Parable.
The game has this narrative about the whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Alright, where'd my gun go?
You there, in the engine room.
Yep.
You could save us all. That beam is powering the whisper machine.
Who's
We can
talking?
disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it?
Yes,
Would you do it
ma'am.
yourself?
I will. Just let me on in there. Here we go. Ha! I'm
Let me
dead.
pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying,
Death.
is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
What? What? Nothing. Oh. I go floating into space.
The beam causes you to start floating. And
I
this is
see
an
that.
important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it. Like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system.
I'm
Or
feeling
this
it.
floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs.
That's cool.
So he stops
Are you
working on
Coda?
this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
I must not be Mr. Krabs, because I'm feeling it. Sorry, I had to throw in the SpongeBob reference. The past was behind her.
Yep, in this game you can only walk backwards.
That's awesome. Can't walk sideways either. I guess that's what you meant when you said I could only walk backwards. So what's this game about, Mr. Voice? What?
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative.
But the future
It is
cannot
less
be seen.
advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete.
Why?
Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply...
Why does the future keep changing? When she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. Nothing's becoming clearer. I'm just gonna walk backwards some more, I guess. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength? What? What? To confront
It's a
it?
short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick.
It works.
Next one.
This game sucks, dude. Why would you go from those last two to this? You are now entering Bikini Bottom, right? Right? Or Rock Bottom? Where am I entering? Mr. Voice, you want to help out?
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
I guess I'll be patient with you. December 2008. Nonsense in
Oftentimes,
nearly
Coda
every
would put
direction.
bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
I'm slowing down.
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
Okay. What's in the door? It's just a room, buddy. Nothing special. You walk around talking people down from pursuing their hopes and dreams. Play as a pair of floating eyes emitting footstep noises. A series of lavish
A room
manuals.
that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
Normal game where you have to scream into a mic every 15 seconds to keep playing.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant.
Isn't there a game
He said
like that?
He knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person.
You
but
are
that
a
it
geek.
takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
A stranger appears. Well, that's got some nice deep meaning behind it. Thanks for sticking with me, Davey. Ready, set, fish. We're gonna go fishing. Maybe. Never mind. He's just gonna name the game that, and then we're not gonna go fishing.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
Maybe I have to put this up and then step in air. Okay.
Don't forget that
Sweet.
solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again
Figured it
soon.
out.
We're gonna see it a lot.
You guys see that puzzle a lot? Was Coda not very original? Did he put the same puzzle in multiple games?
Or you solve the puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Why? So he created so much more than you can
How about
access.
that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Back to this game. Where am I entering? You're now exiting.
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
We're in March. We skipped February. Why didn't he make any games in February? The Great and Lovely Descent. Oh, I wonder where we should go. This house probably doesn't have anything in it.
Let's talk about video game development for a second.
Alright.
Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
Yep. Is that all you gotta say about that?
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just well.
That explains that.
The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making.
I'm gonna fall.
You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
Oh, most definitely. Right? No fall damage. I don't even know if I can get damage. Oh, I guess that's alright that I did that. Okay. Alright, here we are at the bottom of hell. Going into hell's basement. Hell 2. What's that? That is apparently not important. Who's here? I heard you, Davey. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? It sounds like someone wants to tell me something!
In Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
I think we're gonna skip that too.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible?
Good point, Dave.
So we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
How fun was that? Bet you had a whale of a time. Are you telling me there's no point to this game?
It's the puzzle again.
Yep.
With the exact same solution as the last time.
You lying to me? Oh, you weren't lying to me.
There's still no clear indication of
Thanks,
what
brother.
makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
Except Coda. Coda, why are you making the same thing over and over again? Listen, listen, listen. Listen, speak, listen. You there.
Coda begins
Did you come
using
from
a
above?
dialogue
What was up there?
System that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Alright. Yes, yes, and yes. So no matter what, yes. There was a world stamped with whiteness. There was an enormous prison I spent hours in. There were these floating colored blocks. There were floating colored blocks. That's the world above. You've been there. Now this is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. No, I don't remember having to go through any puzzles. I'd prefer not to tell you. After all, we've only just met. I'll tell them yes. Yes, I did. Again, perfect. Now please, tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. Tell us how to get to the other side. I don't remember how I solved it. I remember, but I'm trying to remember, but I can't. I didn't solve it. Someone let me in. Trust me, you don't want to go over there. None of those are just complying with what they said. I'll just say that. Say number 1. You must think harder, please. Remember. Try to remember. It is so important that we get out of here. We must escape this prison. Can you think harder? There must be something more. Please tell us how to reach the end. What's that? Guess I'm not talking to you anymore, friends. New friends. How's it going? Hello, how'd you get here? Was there a puzzle? Yes. Yes, I just told the other guys that. No, we actually want to find the black space between the doors to... What? No, we actually find the black space between the doors to be far more interesting. Have you seen it yet? I don't remember. I don't recall the space between the... Ooh. I hit the wrong one. Don't think too hard about it. You'll see it again soon. Alright. Where's the black space?
And so we make
Oh, black
the last
space.
descent down to the final floor of the level.
This is kind of black and spacey. Well, there was a mood change right there. No
It's
more
a-
friends.
Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I think.
Spoiler alert.
I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.